Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a very simple question. How many times in your life have you said these words, if only I was lucky? Think about it. We say it all the time. If only I was lucky, I would have passed that exam. If only I was lucky, I would have found a better job. If only I was lucky, I would be rich by now. If only I was lucky, the girl I liked would have said yes. It's funny, isn't it? We give so much credit to luck, as if luck is the magic key that opens every door in life. And we wait and wait and wait, hoping that one day luck will knock at our door. But let me tell you the truth. Waiting for luck is the fastest way to waste your life, because luck is like rain. You cannot control when it will come. You cannot decide how heavy it will be. But here's the difference. Some people are outside with a bucket ready to collect every drop, and some people are sleeping inside, complaining about drought. So many people tell me, "Sir, I'm just unlucky." And I always ask them, all right, but what have you prepared? What have you built? What skills, what value, what network do you have? So that if luck comes, you are ready to catch it. Most of the time, silence. Because the truth is, they haven't prepared anything. They are waiting for the rain, but they don't even own a bucket. Think about it in your own life. Maybe you've had moments where you thought someone else got lucky. Your friend got a job you wanted. Somebody else started a business and it worked. You said, they're just lucky. But here's the part you don't see. While you were waiting for luck, they were building something. They were learning, failing, trying, networking, practicing. So when luck showed up, they were ready. Let me give you an example. Two students study for an exam. One studies for months, prepares notes, practices every question. The other one plays video games and says, I'll just be lucky. On exam day, maybe a few questions come from the topics both know. The prepared student smiles and writes answers. The unprepared one prays and blames his bad luck. But was it really bad luck or bad preparation? This is life. Luck doesn't decide your future. Preparation does. Ladies and gentlemen, stop waiting for luck. Stop blaming luck, because luck is nothing without preparation. Ladies and gentlemen, if luck is not the answer, then what is? What should we chase? The answer is simple. Skills, habits, and preparation. Let me tell you something. Life doesn't reward the person who wishes the most. Life rewards the person who prepares the most. Think about athletes. Do you think the Olympic gold medalist was just lucky on that day? No. Behind those 10 seconds of running, there are 10 years of training. Luck might give you one opportunity, but only skill and preparation make sure you don't waste it. The problem is, most people want shortcuts. We want success to come like fast food, quick, cheap, and tasty. But real success is like cooking a proper meal. It takes time, effort, and patience. If you rush it, it will taste terrible. Now, let me make this relatable. Imagine you are trying to impress someone you like. You don't shower, you don't dress well, you don't even know how to hold a conversation. And then you sit there praying, God, please make her say yes. My friend, that's not God's problem. That's your preparation problem. It's the same in business, career, everything. You can't just hope for luck. You have to prepare yourself so that when the door opens, you have the confidence to walk in. I'll give you an example. There's a saying, success is when preparation meets opportunity. Let's say opportunity is like a train. That train passes by every few months. If you are standing at the station with your ticket ready, you will jump on. If you are still at home sleeping, you will miss it and later say, I was unlucky. No, you weren't unlucky. You were unprepared. Ladies and gentlemen, the world doesn't need more people who pray for luck. The world needs people who build skills, who create habits, who are ready for the moment when opportunity knocks. So stop waiting for luck. Instead, ask yourself, am I ready if luck comes tomorrow? Ladies and gentlemen, let's get practical. If luck is not the answer and preparation is, then how do we prepare? It comes down to three things: skills, habits, and mindset. First, skills. If you want opportunities, you must be valuable. Think about it. Nobody hires you because you're lucky. They hire you because you can solve a problem. Nobody buys from your business because of luck. They buy because you give them value. So instead of waiting for luck, learn something. Build a skill, and don't tell me, but I don't know what to learn. My friend, in the age of the internet, if you don't know what to learn, it means you are not even searching. We live in a time where you can learn coding, design, marketing, cooking, photography, whatever you want, all from your phone. And yet, people still say, I'm waiting for luck. No, you're just wasting time scrolling. Second, habits. Skills are built through habits, not wishes. You can't go to the gym one day and expect a six-pack. You can't study one night and expect to be a genius. Daily consistency beats random bursts of energy. And let me tell you something funny. Bad habits are like credit cards. They are fun now, but painful later. Good habits are like investments. Boring now, but very powerful later. Third, mindset. This one is the most important. You can have skills and habits, but if your mindset is weak, one failure will destroy you. And failures will come. Opportunities don't come in clean packages with a golden ribbon. They come disguised as problems. If you always think, why me, why so unlucky, you'll miss them. But if your mindset is strong, you'll say, okay, this is tough, but let me figure it out. Ladies and gentlemen, preparation is not one big act. It is small, boring, daily choices. Reading instead of scrolling. Practicing instead of complaining. Showing up even when nobody claps for you. And one day, when luck finally comes, you'll smile and say, I was ready for this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you some stories. I once met a young man who said, sir, I just need a little luck to start a business. I asked him, all right, if someone gave you $1 million today, what business would you start? He went quiet. He had no plan. See, that's not a luck problem. That's a preparation problem. On the other hand, I met another young man who was running a small online shop. He had studied digital marketing, learned customer service, and saved a little money. One day, an investor noticed him and gave him a chance. People said, wow, he's so lucky. But no, he was prepared. The investor didn't throw money randomly. He invested because the boy was already building something. Think about students too. We all know that one friend who studies last minute and prays, God, just make the paper easy. Then we also know that other friend who studies consistently, sleeps well, and walks into the exam hall calm like a king. When results come, who gets the better marks? And what do people say? Oh, he's lucky the easy questions came. No, he's not lucky. He was simply prepared for whatever came. Even in relationships, this happens. A guy says, I'm unlucky, girls don't like me. But he doesn't even know how to talk confidently, how to respect people, how to dress properly. He wants love, but he hasn't built himself. Meanwhile, someone else works on their personality, learns how to communicate, takes care of themselves, and suddenly they are lucky. No, my friend, that's not luck, that's preparation in disguise. Here's the truth. When you see someone successful, don't just say they're lucky. Ask instead, what bucket did they prepare to collect the rain? Because opportunity is fair. It passes by everyone. The difference is some are ready, some are not. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the biggest truth of life. Luck is not the foundation of success. Preparation is. Luck may open the door once, but only preparation will let you walk through it and stay inside. Think about it. How many people win the lottery and lose everything within a few years? Why? Because they had money, but no skills. They had opportunity, but no preparation. And how many ordinary people, without luck, slowly build skills, habits, and networks, and then create extraordinary lives? So today, I want to challenge you. Stop asking, when will I get lucky? Instead, ask, what am I building right now? What skills am I learning? What habits am I practicing daily? If opportunity knocks tomorrow, will I be ready? Because ladies and gentlemen, opportunity is like a guest. It does not tell you the date it will arrive. It just shows up suddenly. And if your house is messy, if you are unprepared, the guest will walk away. But if you are ready, if you've built yourself, the guest will sit down and change your life. So stop waiting for luck. Build your skills, build your habits, build your mindset. Because when you are prepared, luck is not even necessary. You will create your own opportunities, and when the world looks at you and says, wow, you're so lucky, you will smile and think to yourself, no, I wasn't lucky, I was ready. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest. Everyone loves the idea of success until it's time to walk alone. You say, I'm going to chase my dream. And your friends say, bro, we're with you. But the moment you actually start, They vanish faster than free Wi-Fi signals. You'll call them, "Hey bro, let's meet. I'm working on something big." They'll reply, "Next week I'm a bit busy." 3 years later, they're still a bit busy. That's life. Because when the road gets serious, funny people disappear. When you start walking alone, you realize success is like the gym. Everyone wants results, but no one wants to show up daily and sweat. You must learn to walk alone because no one will clap for you in the beginning. When you start improving, people won't say good job, they'll say you've changed. Of course you've changed, you were supposed to. Even your phone gets an update every month. Why shouldn't your mindset? When you start walking alone, people will think you're arrogant. When you stop replying instantly, they'll say you're rude. When you stop wasting time, they'll say you're boring. But when success finally arrives, they'll say, "I always knew you'd make it." Really? You didn't even reply to my texts when I was struggling. Think about it. When Messi left his home at 13 to chase football in another country, he was alone. When Elon Musk slept on the floor of his factory, everyone called him crazy. Now they call him visionary. When Shah Rukh Khan came to Mumbai with no money and no name, no friends, no family, he walked alone. Even Taylor Swift wrote songs in her bedroom after being rejected by every label. That loneliness made her legendary. You see, walking alone is not punishment, it's training. When you're alone, you meet the version of you that doesn't depend on anyone's approval. That version is dangerous because it doesn't wait to be understood, it just works. But let's be real. It's not easy. You'll feel lonely. You'll overthink. You'll doubt yourself. You'll scroll Instagram and see your friends chilling, eating pizza, traveling, doing nothing, and you'll think maybe I should relax too. No. While they're enjoying now, you're building something that will feed you forever. Remember, every party you skip now will turn into peace later. Every lonely night you spend working will one day make people ask, "How did you do it?" Success is lonely because the crowd loves comfort, not growth. You'll start alone, you'll struggle alone, you'll learn alone, and one day you'll shine so bright that even the people who left you will need sunglasses. Look, even in movies it's the same. Rocky trained alone. Batman works alone. Iron Man built his suit alone in a cave. That's why they're heroes. Not because they had a squad, but because they had courage when no one else did. So stop expecting people to understand your grind. They won't. They don't need to. It's your dream, not theirs. The higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Not because people hate you, but because not everyone is built for the mountain. Some people are meant for the ground floor. So my friends, when you feel like no one gets you, remember this. Walking alone doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're focused. You know what's funny? The moment you decide to walk alone, people start calling you names. Bro, you've become antisocial. No. Bro, I've become focused. You think I'm ignoring you, but I'm actually ignoring my distractions. There's a big difference between being lonely and being in peace. Lonely is when you have no one. Peace is when you finally realize you don't need everyone. And trust me, the moment you stop chasing people, the right ones start noticing you. You stop begging for company and you start attracting respect. Let's be honest. Most people aren't really your friends. They're just comfortable with your old version. The version that wasted time, scrolled memes, and said, "Let's see tomorrow." The moment you start growing, they panic because your growth reminds them of their laziness. You'll notice this. When you fail, everyone will have time for you. When you win, suddenly everyone's busy because success exposes insecurity. Even in real life, look at how it works. When Cristiano Ronaldo started training at 13, his teammates laughed at him for staying back after practice. Now those same players watching him from their TV. When Oprah was fired from her first job, her boss said she wasn't fit for television. Now she owns a network. The crowd always laughs before it claps. And let's talk about that phase when you start walking alone. That awkward silence phase. No texts, no plans, no bro, where are you? Messages. At first, you'll feel like something's wrong. You'll open your phone every 5 minutes just to check notifications. Nothing. That's the test. That's the moment the world is asking, do you really want this? And if you pass that test, if you keep walking even when no one claps, you're becoming unstoppable. Because when you're alone, you start hearing your own voice again. And let me tell you, your voice is powerful. You realize you don't need 10 people to believe in you. You just need one, you. But here's the fun part. Once your journey starts working, once people see results, you'll notice how fast no one becomes everyone. Suddenly, everyone wants to collaborate. Everyone wants to say, we always supported you. Yeah, right, you supported me in silence. It's like when a singer becomes famous and suddenly everyone from school says, we were classmates. Bro, you didn't even talk to me back then. You just borrowed my notes. So don't be angry at them. They're not bad. They're just spectators. They only clap when the show starts. But the real performer prepares when no one's watching. So if you're in that lonely chapter right now, don't quit. That's the chapter where your story is being written. That's where you build your strength, your identity, your purpose, because the truth is, walking alone doesn't make you weak, it makes you rare. Most people are scared of silence. They need noise to feel alive. But those who can survive the quiet will one day create noise so loud the world will stop to listen. Every great person you admire learned to walk alone. Steve Jobs got kicked out of his own company. He could have quit. Instead, he came back and changed the world. Malala was shot for going to school. She could have stayed silent, but she walked alone and became a voice for millions. Even Michael Jordan, the guy who made basketball a religion, got rejected from his high school team. He didn't cry. He didn't blame anyone. He went home, practiced alone, and came back unstoppable. You see the pattern? Every person who became someone first walked through a phase where no one believed in them. And here's something no one tells you. When you walk alone, your world becomes smaller, but your vision becomes bigger. You lose people, but you find purpose. You stop getting likes, but you start gaining respect. You stop chasing validation and start building confidence. That's when you realize loneliness is not empty. It's full of lessons. You start learning how to think for yourself. You stop asking, what do people think of me? And start asking, what do I think of myself? That's a powerful switch. Because when your opinion matters more than their opinion, you're free. You know, in school, everyone wants to sit in groups. But have you noticed the topper, the artist, the dreamer? They're usually in the corner. Not because they're weird, because they've already started walking alone while the rest are busy gossiping. You'll see this in life too. People who walk alone get called crazy first, then lucky later, and finally, genius. So if people are calling you weird, distant, or different right now, smile. That's your early signal that you're going the right way. The best thing about walking alone is you stop depending on energy from others. You build your own. You don't need claps. Your progress becomes your applause. You don't need validation. Your work speaks louder than words. Because walking alone teaches you one thing that no friend group ever can: how to love your own company. And when you learn that, you become unstoppable, unbreakable, and unpredictable. You know, people always say, bro, I can't focus. I get distracted. Of course you get distracted because you're surrounded by noise. The moment you learn to walk alone, the noise disappears. And that's when life starts talking to you. But here's the hard truth. Walking alone isn't about just cutting people off. It's about building yourself so strong that you don't need to rely on anyone. When you're alone, your biggest enemy is not boredom, it's your mind. That voice that says, you can't do this. You have to learn to silence that voice by proving it wrong every day. Discipline. That's your new best friend now. You don't need motivation every morning, you need discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel like it. Discipline says, I'll do it even when I don't. When The Rock wakes up at 4 a.m. to train, it's not because he loves it every day, it's because he made a promise to himself and he keeps it, no matter how he feels. When you start keeping promises to yourself, your confidence skyrockets. You realize, I don't need anyone to push me. I've got me. And listen, walking alone doesn't mean you isolate yourself from the world. It means you build peace inside you that the world can't touch. When you're alone, learn to enjoy small things. Read, work out, take walks, learn new skills. Talk to yourself like you'd talk to your best friend. Because guess what? You are your best friend. You've got to reach a point where you're so in love with your purpose that loneliness feels like luxury, where your focus becomes louder than your fears. The biggest trap in today's world is comparison. You walk alone for 1 week and suddenly you see your friends posting beach trips, car selfies, new outfits, and your mind goes, maybe I'm missing out. You're not missing out. You're investing in silence. While they post stories, you're building one worth telling. When you walk alone, your progress is invisible for a while. No likes, no comments, no recognition. But one day, all that quiet effort will make so much noise that even those who ignored you will have to listen. So here's what you do. Every day, give 1 hour to yourself. No phone, no people, no noise. Just you and your thoughts. Because success doesn't come from meetings. It comes from moments of solitude where you plan, reflect, and act. Every dream you have needs space to breathe, and that space is created when you walk alone. So if you're walking alone right now, don't rush to find company. Use that time to find clarity. Because one day, people will beg for your time, and you'll smile remembering when no one had time for you. That's the reward of walking alone. You start with silence, and you end with respect. Ladies and gentlemen, one day, you'll look back at your life and realize the people you were crying for didn't even deserve your time. The things you were chasing weren't even important. And the nights you spent alone, overthinking, were the nights that built you. You'll smile and think, if I hadn't walked alone back then, I'd still be stuck where I was. Because life doesn't reward the crowd. It rewards the one who had the courage to walk when no one else did. You see, walking alone is like climbing a mountain. At the bottom, it's noisy, full of people talking, laughing, doubting. But the higher you climb, the quieter it gets. Because few people can handle the altitude of discipline. And when you finally reach the top, you don't hear noise anymore. You hear peace. You look down and realize every step, every lonely night, every sacrifice was worth it. Let me tell you something beautiful. Every lion walks alone. Only sheep move in groups. The lion doesn't care who follows. It just hunts. That's why it's the king. And that's how you must become in your life. Not the loudest, not the most liked, but the most focused. Because your strength doesn't come from people who walk with you. It comes from the fire that burns within you. People will leave. It's part of the plan. Friends will change. Circles will shrink. Relationships will fade. But don't chase what walks away. Because every time something leaves, space opens up for something greater. Use that space to grow. Use that silence to listen. Because the person you are becoming deserves the peace you once begged others to give you. And one day, you'll meet that version of yourself. The one who didn't quit when it was lonely. Who kept walking when no one clapped. Who stayed disciplined when everyone else partied. That version will look at you and say, we did it, alone. And at that moment, you'll understand you never really walked alone. The whole time, your purpose was walking with you. So walk proud, walk focused, and if you have to walk alone, walk like a king. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hit you with a hard truth. The people who think about money all the time are usually the ones who never have it. Have you noticed? The friend who's always saying, bro, I need money, I need money, I need money, is the same friend who at the end of the month is borrowing your charger, your Netflix password, and sometimes even your Wi-Fi. It's funny, but it's real. The more you chase money, the more money hides from you. It's like trying to catch a chicken in the street. The faster you run, the faster it escapes. And the whole time people are watching you laughing because you look crazy. That's exactly how life looks when you chase money desperately. Now let me ask you, have you seen people working 2 jobs, sometimes 3? They wake up at 6 a.m., run all day, eat dinner standing, collapse at night, and by the end of the month, they're still broke. Why? Because when you chase money without thinking, money finds 100 ways to escape. Bills, debts, problems you didn't even expect. It's like your wallet has holes. One guy once asked me, sir, how can I get rich quickly? I laughed and said, quickly? Then you will also become poor quickly. Why? Because when your brain is only shouting money, 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 you stop seeing opportunities. You don't see skills, you don't see ideas, you don't see value. You only see numbers. And when you only see numbers, you miss the game completely. Here's the truth. People are not poor because they don't have money. They are poor because they only think about money. And when your mind is full of money, your life becomes cheap. Your relationships become transactions. Your work becomes a burden. And your dreams, you sell them for small change. So remember this, money is not a goal. Money is a result. If you run after it, you'll keep running forever. But if you focus on learning, building and creating value, money will eventually follow you. Because money is like a cat. Chase it, it runs, sit still, build a warm home, and suddenly it jumps on your lap. Many people are not working for money. They are actually working for bills. Think about it. The moment their salary comes in, it's already gone. Rent takes 1 bite, groceries take another, loans take a big bite, and what's left? A few bones. It's like cooking a chicken all day, and when you finally sit to eat, you only get the neck. Have you noticed? The more money some people earn, the more broke they feel. They buy a bigger phone, a fancier car, a shinier watch, and suddenly, their new lifestyle eats their new income. It's like filling water in a bucket full of holes. No matter how much you pour in, it never stays. Why does this happen? Because when you chase money without chasing knowledge, your money grows, but your wisdom doesn't. And when your wisdom doesn't grow, you don't know how to keep money, multiply money, or protect money. That's why so many people look rich on Instagram, but if you check their wallets, they're crying inside. Let me give you an example. You've seen lottery winners, right? They win millions overnight. But studies show that most lottery winners go broke within 3 to 5 years. Why? Because they had money, but not the mindset. They knew how to spend, but not how to build. Here's the rule. If your pockets are bigger than your brain, very soon your pockets will be empty. Money doesn't solve money problems. Skills solve money problems. Knowledge solves money problems. Self-discipline solves money problems. If you keep chasing only money, you'll always be one step behind. But if you chase growth, one day money will start chasing you. And let me warn you, if your dream is only to be rich, you will always be poor. Because being rich is not about how much money you have. It's about how much value you can create, how many problems you can solve, how many lives you can impact. That's the difference between people who stay broke and people who stay wealthy. So remember, don't just work for money, make money work for you. Here's something that will shock you. The faster you try to get rich, the faster you usually go broke. Sounds strange? But look around. People love shortcuts. Double your money in 30 days. Invest here and become a millionaire overnight. Start this scheme, you'll never have to work again. And every time, what happens? They lose what little money they already had. It's funny. Someone will think 5 times before spending $20 on a book, but won't think even once before putting $2,000 in some shady scheme because a friend said, "Trust me, bro, it's guaranteed." And then a few months later, they're crying, "I was scammed." No, you weren't scammed. You were impatient. Let me give you a real example. We've all heard stories of people who joined some get-rich-quick program. They show off for 2 months, posting selfies with rented cars, fake watches, and cash spread on the bed. But after 6 months, they disappear. The car is gone, the money is gone, and they're back asking you to lend them $50. Why? Because wealth built on shortcuts never lasts. It's like building a house on sand. One strong wave and it collapses. Real wealth takes time, patience, and most importantly, discipline. The truth is, money comes slowly to test you. If you respect it, if you learn how to grow it, if you have the patience to handle it, it stays. But if you get it too fast, without the character to manage it, money leaves faster than it came. So the shocking lesson is this. If you try to get rich fast, you will stay poor forever. But if you focus on getting rich slowly, by building skills, creating value, and being patient, money will stay with you forever. And here's a funny irony. People who don't chase money desperately end up with more money. But the ones who are always chasing money end up chasing it for life. So don't run after shortcuts. Build the long road. It's slower, but it's stronger. And on that road, money doesn't run away from you. It walks right beside you. Here's a truth that will shock many of you. Money doesn't change people. It only exposes who they really are. Have you seen this? Someone who was broke and humble suddenly gets a little money, and overnight they turn into a mini celebrity. They start walking differently, talking differently, posting selfies with captions like "new level, new me." But give it a few months, and when the money disappears, they're back to old level, same me. It's funny, some people think money will make them smarter. But if you're foolish without money, you'll just be a bigger fool with money. If you're lazy without money, you'll just be lazier with money. If you're unkind without money, you'll just be unkind in designer clothes. That's why chasing money without building character is dangerous. Because if you get money without maturity, money will destroy you. Look at the celebrities who earn millions but still go bankrupt. Look at the athletes who sign million-dollar contracts and still end up broke after retirement. Why? Because they built their bank accounts, but not their mindset. Let me give you a relatable example. Imagine handing a 10-year-old kid $10,000. What would happen? They'd probably buy candy, toys, video games, maybe even lose half of it on the way home. Why? Because they don't yet have the wisdom to handle that kind of responsibility. But many adults are doing the exact same thing, earning money they don't know how to handle. Here's the secret. Money doesn't make you rich. Your habits do. If your habit is spending every dollar the moment it comes, money will never stay with you. If your habit is showing off every time you get paid, you'll always be broke in reality. But if your habits are discipline, learning, investing, and creating value, then no matter how little you start with, you will grow. So stop believing money will change your life. Change your mindset first, and then money will only amplify it. Because remember, if you're poor in your mind, no amount of money can make you rich. But if you're rich in your mind, eventually money will have no choice but to find you. Being rich has nothing to do with how much money you have. It has everything to do with how little you need. Think about it. Some people earn $500 a month and still save. Others earn $5,000 a month and are still broke. Why? Because wealth is not about numbers. It's about mindset. If your wants are bigger than your income, you'll always feel poor. But if your wisdom is bigger than your wants, you'll always feel rich. Look around. How many people are slaves to their lifestyle? The moment they earn a little more, they immediately upgrade everything. Bigger phone, bigger car, bigger house, bigger problems. It's like they're in a race, not to build wealth, but to look wealthy. And in the end, they lose both money and peace. Here's the irony. The people who scream, "I don't care about money, I just want freedom," are the same people who keep chasing money their entire life and never get freedom. Why? Because freedom doesn't come from chasing money. Freedom comes when you learn how to live, grow, and create value without being a prisoner of money. Let me make this funny but real. You know who is truly rich? The person who can sleep peacefully at night without checking their bank balance 10 times. The person who doesn't have to impress strangers with shoes, cars, or watches. The person who can say, "I'm happy with what I have and I'm building slowly." That is real wealth. So my friends, let's end with this truth. Chasing money makes you poor, but chasing growth, learning, value, and freedom makes you rich. Money should not be your master. Money should be your servant. Don't run after it like a desperate lover. Build yourself so strong, so valuable, so unstoppable, that money has no choice but to run after you. Because in the end, you don't become wealthy by counting dollars. You become wealthy when dollars start counting on you. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a shocking truth. More than 70% of people who win the lottery go broke within 5 years. Imagine that. Millions in their hands, gone. Back to poverty. Why? Because money without the right mindset disappears. And this is the painful truth about money, why poor people stay poor. Think about your own life. Have you ever waited for payday, received your salary, and within a week it was gone? Rent, food, bills, maybe a new phone, a dinner out, and then back to zero. You ask yourself, where did it all go? That cycle, earn, spend, survive, repeat, is the cycle that keeps millions of people trapped. I know this because I lived it. There was a time when I stood outside offices, desperate for a job, rejected over and over. At that time, all I could think about was survival. If I can just make enough to eat, if I can just pay the bills, and guess what? Every time I made a little more, I spent a little more. I wasn't growing. I was just running faster on the same treadmill. Poor people stay poor because survival thinking never allows growth. Let me give you an example. 2 young men work in the same factory. They earn the same salary. One spends his evenings watching TV, scrolling, spending money on small pleasures. The other spends 1 hour a day learning English, another hour reading about business, and instead of buying new clothes every month, he saves and invests. After 10 years, the first man is still working in the factory. The second, he owns his own small company. Same salary, same job, different choices, different future. This is the secret. Poverty is not just about money, it's about habits. Take J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. She was living on welfare, raising a child alone, rejected by 12 publishers. She could have said, "I'm poor, I have no chance." But she kept writing. Her ideas became books. Her books became movies. Her movies became an empire. She turned words into billions. That's not luck, that's mindset. Here's the dangerous mindset poor people carry. I don't have enough, so let me spend what I have to feel good now. Let me buy things that look rich instead of investing in what makes me rich. Survival thinking eats the seed. Growth thinking plants it, waters it, and waits for the tree. Ladies and gentlemen, if you eat the seed, you will always stay hungry. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty, abused as a child, working in a grocery store at 14. By every measure, she should have remained poor. But she didn't just survive, she grew. She learned to speak. She learned to connect. She turned pain into power. Today, she's not just rich, she's one of the most influential women in the world. Not because she had money at the start, but because she planted her seed and refused to eat it. Now I want you to ask yourself, am I surviving or am I growing? Am I chasing comfort or am I building skills? Do I spend to look rich or do I invest to become rich? Poor people stay poor, not because they are lazy. Many poor people work harder than anyone else. They stay poor because all their energy goes into surviving today instead of building tomorrow. So why do poor people stay poor? Because poverty is not just in the wallet, it's in the mind. Change the mind and you change the wallet. Change the habits and you change the future. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the foundation of the truth about money. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the harshest truth about money. Poor people don't just stay poor because they don't earn enough. They stay poor because they fall into money traps. And these traps are everywhere. In your shopping malls, in your smartphones, in the ads you see every day. If you don't see them, you will spend your entire life working hard and still end up with nothing. Think about this. The moment most people get extra money, they don't invest it. They buy something new. A phone, a car, a bigger TV. Do you know what's interesting? Poor people want to look rich. Rich people want to stay rich. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men alive, still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Meanwhile, someone earning $500 a month will buy a $1,000 phone. This is the consumer trap. And it is the first reason why poor people stay poor. I once had a friend who worked very hard. The moment he got a raise, he took a loan to buy a new car. He was proud, he felt successful. But every month, half his salary went to the bank. He wasn't free, he was trapped in debt. That car didn't make him rich, it made the bank rich. Ladies and gentlemen, never confuse looking rich with being rich. Here's the second trap. Fear. Poor people are afraid to take risks, but they don't realize that doing nothing is the biggest risk of all. How many times have you heard someone say, I don't want to start a business, it's too risky. I don't want to invest, I might lose money. And then they put their money in savings accounts, earning 2% interest while inflation eats 10%. They are not saving, they are slowly losing. When Jeff Bezos left his stable Wall Street job to start Amazon in his garage, everyone thought he was crazy, but he understood something poor people often don't. The biggest risk is not failing. The biggest risk is never trying. Today, Amazon is worth over $1 trillion. If he had played safe, he would have been comfortable, but never wealthy. The third trap is procrastination. Poor people say, one day I will start saving. One day I will invest. One day I will start a business. But one day never comes. Do you know what Albert Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world? Compound interest. The earlier you start, the bigger it grows. But if you keep waiting, you lose the only thing you can never get back, time. I made this mistake too. In my early days, I wasted years waiting for the perfect opportunity. I thought, when I have enough money, then I will invest. When I have more time, then I will learn. But that time never came. The truth is, there is no perfect time. You start with what you have, where you are right now. Let's talk about the last trap in this part. Environment. Poor people stay poor because they surround themselves with poor thinkers. If your 5 closest friends only talk about gossip, football, and parties, guess what? You'll spend your life gossiping, watching football, and going to parties. But if your 5 closest friends talk about business, ideas, investments, and growth, you'll rise. Show me your friends, and I will show you your future. When Elon Musk was young, he wasn't surrounded by comfort. He was surrounded by dreamers, engineers, and problem solvers. That environment shaped him. That environment pushed him. That's why he builds rockets, while others are still arguing about gas prices. Ladies and gentlemen, let me leave you with this. The poor stay poor because they fall into traps, consumption, fear, procrastination, and environment. These traps steal your future quietly while you think you are just living life. But life is not about just living. Life is about growing. And until you break these traps, Money will always control you instead of you controlling money. One of the habits that keeps people poor is blaming others. Poor people love to say, "It's not my fault. The system is against me. My boss doesn't pay me enough. My parents didn't give me a good education." Yes, life is unfair. That's true. But blaming others will never put food on your table. Blaming others will never pay your bills. Blaming others will never build your future. I'll tell you this, the richest people in the world were not born with perfect circumstances. Oprah Winfrey was born into poverty, abused as a child, and still built an empire. Howard Schultz, the man behind Starbucks, grew up in the projects. His father was a truck driver who struggled to support the family. Today, his company serves millions daily. If they had kept blaming, they would still be stuck. Instead, they took responsibility. And that, my friends, is the real difference. Poor people blame, rich people take responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about why poor people stay poor, the traps, the habits, the fears. But now, let's talk about something more powerful, how to break free. Because here's the truth, you are not stuck. Poverty is not a life sentence, it's a mindset, and mindsets can change. When I was young, I thought money was something other people had. I thought success was for the lucky ones, the smart ones, or the born rich. But I was wrong. Success is not about where you start. It's about how you think and how you grow. I've seen people with nothing build empires, and I've seen people with millions lose everything. The difference is not the size of their wallet, it's the size of their vision. Here's the first key. Stop chasing money. Start chasing value. Do you know why so many people work for 40 years and still retire broke? Because they only trade time for money. They never ask, how can I create something valuable that works even when I sleep? Bill Gates once said, if you're born poor, it's not your mistake, but if you die poor, it is your mistake. He didn't say this to insult anyone. He said it to remind us, money follows value. When you solve problems, when you help people, when you add value, money finds you. I once met a man who opened a small food cart. He didn't have much, but instead of complaining, he asked himself, what do people in my city need? He noticed office workers rushing every morning without time for breakfast. So he started selling cheap, healthy breakfast near the subway station. Within months, his one cart became 5 carts. Within years, he opened restaurants. He didn't chase money, he chased value. And money chased him. Poor people buy things, rich people buy skills. The phone in your hand will lose value in 1 year, but the skill you learn can make you money for the rest of your life. Do you know why Steve Jobs was able to build Apple? Because he studied calligraphy, something that looked useless at the time. But that skill gave Apple computers the beautiful fonts that changed design forever. Skills compound, and when your skills grow, your income grows. The third key is how you see failure. Poor people fear failure. Rich people learn from failure. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before creating the light bulb. But he didn't call it failure. He said, I found 10,000 ways that won't work. Most people give up after one rejection, one loss, one embarrassment. But here's the truth. Every failure is tuition you pay to the school of success. I failed many times. I failed exams. I failed job interviews. I was rejected again and again. At that time, I thought maybe I'm not good enough. But now I understand. Those failures were training me. They were not the end of my journey. They were the beginning. Without those failures, I would not be here speaking to you today. The fourth key, think long term. Poor people ask, how much will I earn today? Rich people ask, what will this decision do for me in 5 years, in 10 years? Amazon lost money for years before making profit. But Jeff Bezos didn't care about short-term pain. He cared about long-term dominance. That's why today Amazon is everywhere, while other companies that chased quick profit disappeared. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this clearly. You cannot escape poverty by wishing. You cannot escape poverty by shortcuts. You escape by changing how you think. Stop chasing money, start chasing value. Stop buying things, start buying skills. Stop fearing failure, start learning from it. Stop thinking short-term, start building long-term. The moment your mindset changes, your life changes. Because money is not the problem. Mindset is. And when your mindset grows, wealth follows. Now the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Because knowing is not enough. You must act. You must decide today whether you will keep living the same story or whether you will write a new one. Let me tell you something about myself. When I was younger, I almost gave up many times. I thought, maybe this is my fate. Maybe I will always be poor. Maybe success is not for people like me. But one day, I made a decision. I told myself, if others can do it, why not me? If others can rise, why not me? I may not have money, but I can have courage. I may not have education, but I can learn. I may not have connections, but I can build them. That decision changed my life, and now I'm the CEO of Alibaba, and I challenge you today to make the same decision. Do not tell yourself, I am poor. Tell yourself, I am not finished yet. Stop saying, I have no money. Start saying, I will create value, and money will come. Stop waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time will never come. The only time you have is now. Have you heard the story of the Chinese bamboo tree? You plant the seed, for 5 years, nothing happens. You water it, you nurture it, and still nothing. People laugh at you. They say you're wasting your time. But in the 5th year, something incredible happens. The bamboo tree grows 90 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Did it grow in 6 weeks? No. It grew in 5 years and 6 weeks. Those years underground built its roots. Your life is the same. The struggles you face today are not wasted. They are your roots. And when the time comes, you will rise higher than anyone ever imagined. The richest people in the world don't just think about themselves. They think about their families, their communities, their future generations. If you are poor today, don't just dream about money. Dream about freedom. Dream about giving your children the life you never had. Dream about breaking the cycle of poverty in your family forever. Because the truth is, money is not just about buying things. Money is about options. Money is about freedom. Money is about impact. Ladies and gentlemen, if you remember nothing else from tonight, remember this. Poor people stay poor because they believe they have no choice. But you have a choice. A choice to think differently. A choice to act differently. A choice to believe that your future is greater than your past. So I ask you right now, when you walk out of this room, when you close this video, will you go back to the same habits, the same fears, the same excuses? Or will you say, this is my time, this is my moment. I will not let poverty define me. I will rise, I will create, I will win. Because the truth about money is simple. It does not stay with those who fear it. It flows to those who respect it, who grow with it, who use it to build, not just to survive. Ladies and gentlemen, you have the power. The question is, will you use it? Thank you. Do you know what the biggest lie is? That success takes years. No. My friend, success takes 5 months of clarity. But only if you stop living the same 5 years over and over again. So today, I want to show you something different. A real 5-month plan. Not a plan that lives in your notebook, but a plan that wakes you up at 6 a.m. with fire in your chest. Let's begin. You ever wonder why your life looks the same every year? Same job, same habits, same excuses. Yet every January you say, this year, I'll change. But then February comes and you're back to the same routine. Let me tell you something real. The biggest reason most people never succeed isn't lack of opportunity. It's lack of honesty. They lie to themselves beautifully. I'm trying. I'm waiting for the right time. I'll start soon. My friend, the right time never comes. You don't need a new year. You need a new attitude. The first month of your 5-month success plan is about one thing. Brutal honesty. The kind that makes you uncomfortable. The kind that forces you to face the mirror and admit, I am the reason my life isn't moving. People can fight the world, but they can't fight their own excuses. Someone once told me, I feel stuck. I said, no, you're not stuck. You're scared. Scared of change. Scared of failing. Scared of being laughed at. But you know what's scarier? Staying the same for the next 10 years. If you want to grow, you have to break your comfort. You can't have a new life with old habits. And stop blaming others. My boss doesn't promote me. My parents don't support me. My city has no opportunities. The day you stop blaming is the day your life begins. When you blame, you hand your power away. When you own your problems, you get power back. If your job sucks, learn a skill. If your friends waste your time, find new company. If nobody believes in you, let their doubt fuel your fire. You don't lose because of lack of talent. You lose because you waste time. Let's be real. How many hours do you scroll on your phone every day? Multiply it by 30 days. That's your dream dying in slow motion. 3 hours a day means 90 hours a month, 1,000 hours a year. You could build a business in that time. you could change your life. The successful people don't have extra hours, they just don't waste them. And stop saying, I'm not motivated. You don't need motivation. You need clarity. If I ask, what do you want in life? Most people say, I just want to be successful. That's not a goal. That's a wish. Define it. What kind of success? Money, freedom, peace. Once you know exactly what you want and why you want it, motivation takes care of itself. You wake up ready. You stop snoozing. You start moving. One simple exercise. Tonight, no phone, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Ask yourself 3 questions. What do I want in the next 5 months? Why do I want it? And what am I ready to give up for it? Write the answers down. That list will change your life faster than any self-help book. And the way you talk to yourself, it matters. You keep saying, I'm lazy, and your brain believes it. Say, I'm learning discipline. You say, I can't do this. Say, I'll figure it out. You're building your future every time you open your mouth. So speak like someone who's going somewhere. I once knew a man who kept saying, I have no opportunities. His friend told him, then create one. He laughed, but that night he couldn't sleep. The next day, he started learning online. 5 months later, he was earning more than the job that rejected him. He didn't wait for luck, he built it. One honest day at a time. So here's my challenge for you. This month, be brutally honest with yourself. Audit your time, write your goals, stop saying one day, because one day isn't a real date. Today is. The moment you stop lying to yourself, your 5-month success plan truly begins. And trust me, if you can survive the first month with honesty, you've already beaten most people out there. This is where your story starts. You know what separates the people who keep dreaming from the ones who actually win? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's hunger to learn. The second month of your 5-month success plan is all about feeding that hunger, learning like your life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. Most people stop learning the moment school ends. They get a job, learn the minimum, and press repeat for years. Then they wonder why life feels the same. My friend, the world changes every 6 months. If you stop learning, the world doesn't wait for you, it replaces you. I once met a guy who said, I don't have time to learn new things. I asked him, how many hours do you watch Netflix? He said, around 2 hours a day. I smiled and said, congratulations, you just found time. It's never about time, it's about priorities. You find time for what matters to you. This month, replace at least 1 hour of entertainment with education. 1 hour a day for 30 days. That's 30 hours. You can finish 2 books, a whole online course, or master a new skill in that time. Imagine doing that for 5 months. That's a new version of you. Learning isn't boring if you link it to your dream. If you want to start a business, learn sales, marketing, communication. If you want freedom, learn how money works. If you want confidence, learn how people think. Every skill you learn adds a brick to your dream. The funny part is, most people say, I don't know where to start. You're living in the easiest time in history to learn anything. You can learn from the best people in the world for free. YouTube, podcasts, books, even short clips on your phone. But most people would rather scroll through drama than study how to change their own story. Don't be one of them. Be the person who turns curiosity into power. Read when others sleep. Listen when others gossip. Ask questions that make people think. Curiosity turns average people into experts. Let me tell you a story. There was a delivery boy who loved tech videos. Every night after work, he would watch tutorials instead of wasting time online. In 6 months, he learned basic coding. In a year, he built his own small app. Today, he earns more than his old boss. He didn't have a degree. He had curiosity and YouTube. The point is simple. When you stop learning, you stop growing. And when you stop growing, life stops rewarding you. If you don't upgrade yourself, the world will downgrade your value. People often ask, what if I fail while learning? My answer, fail fast. Fail forward. Failure in learning is not real failure, it's tuition. You're paying life to teach you. Every mistake teaches you something school never did. You must also learn one more skill, the skill of focus. Learning doesn't mean jumping from topic to topic. Pick one direction, go deep, and get good at it. Mastery gives confidence. Dipping your toes in 10 things gives confusion. And remember, when you start learning something new, you'll look stupid at first. Everyone does. Don't worry. Looking stupid for a few weeks is better than staying broke for a lifetime. Every expert was once an amateur who didn't quit after looking silly. I'll tell you what to do this month. Choose one skill connected to your dream. Write it down, then commit 1 hour a day to it. Use every free minute in buses, at lunch, before bed to feed your brain. Keep a notebook or a notes app just for learning. Track what you learn each day. After 30 days, you'll have more knowledge, more confidence, and more direction than you've ever had before. And the best part, learning gives you something most people never feel: momentum. When you start learning, your mind wakes up. You start seeing ideas everywhere. You begin to feel alive again. So in this second month, stop waiting for opportunities and start preparing for them. The world doesn't reward the most talented person. It rewards the most prepared. And learning is the ultimate preparation. Give yourself permission to be a student again. Because the moment you stop learning, your 5-month success plan stops working. But if you keep learning like crazy, nothing in the world can stop you. Let's be honest. Everyone loves planning, but very few love doing. The third month is where most people quit. Not because it's hard, but because it's boring. The excitement fades, the motivation drops, and reality kicks in. This month is where your dream either dies or starts breathing. You've been honest with yourself in month 1. You've learned new things in month 2. Now, it's time to do something about it. Because knowledge without action is just a fancy form of procrastination. You can't think your way to success. You have to move your way there. When I started working years ago, I used to write long lists, goals, steps, routines, all perfect on paper. But nothing changed. Then one day I realized plans don't build success. Consistent action does. Even a small action, repeated daily, beats a perfect plan that never starts. Execution is not about speed. It's about direction and consistency. Imagine trying to push a car that's stuck. The first few seconds take all your strength. But once it starts moving, it gets easier. That's how execution feels. The first few weeks are heavy. You'll doubt yourself, you'll feel lazy, and you'll want to quit. But once you get momentum, it becomes addictive. Let's talk about a big trap: overthinking. Some people plan so much that they never start. They want everything perfect before they begin. But here's the truth. Perfection is just another name for fear. You don't need perfect conditions. You need courage to start. Start messy. Start scared. Just start. A young man once asked me, "What if I make mistakes?" I told him, "You will. Everyone does. The only difference is successful people learn from mistakes while others run from them." Mistakes are proof that you're moving. You can fix mistakes. You can't fix doing nothing. This month, your focus is one word: execution. Don't read 10 more books. Don't watch 10 more motivational videos. Take what you've already learned and apply it. If you learned communication, talk to people. If you learned marketing, post your first ad. If you learned coding, build something small. Turn your knowledge into movement and stop chasing motivation every day. Motivation is like coffee. It wakes you up for a while, but you need discipline to stay awake. Make discipline your best friend, because when you're tired, lazy, or uninspired, discipline is the only thing that will carry you forward. Here's a rule. Do one uncomfortable thing every day. Send that message. Make that call. Record that video. Talk to that client. The magic is always hiding in discomfort. Once you make a habit of doing uncomfortable things, fear starts losing its power over you. You'll face resistance. People will doubt you. Some will laugh. Some will ignore you. That's good. If no one doubts you, you're not doing anything worth noticing. Silence your critics with results, not arguments. Let me share a small example. A friend of mine wanted to start a small business. He had the plan ready for 6 months but never launched because he was still preparing. One day, he just decided, enough thinking. He launched. The first week he failed. The second week he improved. The third week he made his first sale. 6 months later, he was making more than his job. The turning point wasn't a strategy, it was a decision to execute. So this month, forget about being perfect. Focus on being consistent. Show up every day. Do something that moves the needle. 1 hour a day with focus can change your life faster than you think. And when it gets tough, because it will remind yourself why you started, think about the person you promised to become. You owe it to that version of yourself, because execution is where dreams start walking. Talk less, do more, complain less, improve more. Think less, act more. That's how month 3 turns effort into momentum. You ever notice that right when things start getting better, life suddenly hits you harder? That's not a coincidence. The moment you begin to move forward, the universe tests how badly you actually want it. Month 4 is that test. The pressure month, the make or break stage of your journey. When you start seeing small results, 2 things happen. 1, you get excited. 2, life throws chaos at you. Unexpected problems, criticism, delays, even self-doubt. You'll wonder, why now? Why? When I'm finally trying. But that's how growth works. The test always comes after the lesson. Most people quit here. Not because they can't win, but because they misread pressure. They think pressure means I'm not ready. No. Pressure means you're almost there. Every big change comes with resistance. The same way a rocket shakes the hardest right before it breaks free from gravity, your life shakes hardest right before a breakthrough. You will feel tired. You'll have days when your mind says, what's the point? You'll feel invisible. You'll think no one notices your effort. But let me tell you something. The world always notices eventually. You just have to last long enough to be seen. This month, you'll feel the weight of discipline. You'll feel the loneliness of growth. You'll see friends who started with you stop halfway. Don't follow them, keep walking. Because the moment you slow down to comfort others, you lose your own rhythm. Pressure also reveals your weaknesses, your patience, your mindset, your focus. Don't panic when that happens. Pressure is not your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you what still needs to grow. Use it. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it means you're expanding. Growth is never comfortable. Let me tell you about a small restaurant owner I once met. When his business started growing, he got overwhelmed. New orders, new customers, new problems. He almost shut down. But instead, he took a deep breath and learned to manage pressure instead of running from it. A year later, he opened his second branch. He told me, the growth didn't kill me. My fear almost did. That's the truth for all of us. Fear of pressure kills more dreams than failure ever could. When you feel pressure, remind yourself it means you're being trusted with more. Bigger responsibilities only come to people who can handle them. And yes, you'll fail a few times this month. You'll miss a day. You'll make a bad decision. That's okay. Just don't make the same mistake twice. Adjust, adapt, move on. Success is not a straight line. It's a zigzag of chaos, lessons, and tiny wins. Most people want success to feel easy, but nothing worth having ever feels easy at first. Remember, diamonds are made under pressure, not comfort. So this month, your job is simple. Don't break. When everything feels heavy, remind yourself why you started. When people doubt you, remind yourself that they doubted everyone who ever made history. When your plan fails, build a new one. But don't stop. Because if you survive this month, something powerful happens. You stop chasing discipline, it becomes a part of you. Your habits become automatic. Your self-belief becomes natural. And suddenly, you realize you're no longer trying to succeed. You're becoming success itself. Keep your head down, keep your heart strong, and keep moving. Pressure doesn't destroy the strong. It forges them. Look at you. You made it to month 5. Most people quit in month 1. Others disappeared in month 3. But you're still here, still standing. Maybe tired, maybe bruised, but still fighting. And that's exactly why this month is special. This is the transformation month. This is where the small wins turn into big results. The habits you forced yourself to build now feel natural. The things that scared you now excite you. You wake up and realize you've changed. Not because the world got easier, but because you got stronger. This final month isn't about chasing more. It's about mastering what you've built. When you start getting results, don't get arrogant. Stay humble, stay hungry. The same consistency that got you here will take you higher. People forget that success is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. You'll notice something funny around this time. The people who once doubted you will start calling you lucky. They won't see the nights you cried, the mornings you didn't feel like moving, the failures you kept quiet about. Let them call it luck. You know it's discipline. Now something deeper happens in this stage. You start to outgrow certain people, certain habits, even certain dreams. Don't resist it. Transformation always requires shedding the old version of you. You can't carry your past and your future at the same time. Let go of what no longer serves you. 5 months ago, you might have been confused, scared, or lost. But every day you showed up, even when no one was watching. And that's what separates dreamers from doers. Most people wait to feel ready. You didn't. You just started. And that one decision changed everything. Now it's time to solidify your momentum. Take what you've learned and teach it to someone else. Because when you teach, you grow twice. Share your lessons, your failures, your journey. Not to brag, but to inspire. Because the world doesn't need more talkers. It needs examples. Let me tell you the truth. Success is not the cars, the money, or the applause. Success is waking up with peace. Success is knowing you kept your promise to yourself. Success is looking in the mirror and saying, I didn't quit on me. That's real victory. But this isn't the end. It's the beginning of your next level. The 5-month plan isn't magic. It's a system that awakens the best version of you. Now every new challenge you face will feel different because you'll face it with strength, not fear. Remember this. 5 months of effort can change 5 years of your life. If you can stay consistent, learn endlessly, execute fearlessly, and rise under pressure, you can rewrite your story no matter where you started. So as you finish this journey, take a deep breath and say to yourself, I'm not done, I'm just getting started. Because the world hasn't even seen your full potential yet. And when they do, they'll realize the person they once ignored became the person they now admire. Keep growing, keep learning, keep executing, and never, ever forget, 5 months of discipline can do what 5 years of dreaming never will. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.